Rhodes is quite a unique institution in the South African higher education landscape. It's unique in the sense that it's the only research-intensive university in the country which is located in a rural area. And by research-intensive university, we mean that the teachers, the lecturers that students have teaching them are actually creators of knowledge themselves. Okay, right. It's not that everything you get taught they found from a textbook.
Right.
They might have made it themselves, and it's kind of like you are actually engaging with a real psychologist, a real historian, a real philosopher, and so on. And that's kind of exciting. Given our small size, you will actually have an opportunity to properly interact with them, should you wish. Although we do have some courses which have quite large classes, by and large you'll find that the class sizes at Rhodes are smaller than at universities in the large cities, significantly smaller. And given that the class size is small, the opportunity to engage meaningfully with your teachers is increased. And so the sorts of aspects of human existence that are important in humanities would be like communication, a very human attribute. What's communication? Well, we have language like we're using at the moment. At the moment we're speaking English. Obviously there are many other languages, so we need to learn about those as well. But language like this is not the only form of communication for humans. There's music, there is painting, there is theatre, there is dance, and so on. And you'll find all of these things at Rhodes. We have a vibrant creative and performing arts culture here, where you can do music, you can do drama, you can do fine art, as we call it, which is painting and photography, and sculpture. And we have a school of languages and literatures, which you can choose isiXhosa either as a language you already speak and to advance or to learn for the first time, Afrikaans, Chinese, French, German, I'm sure I'm going to forget one, French, German, you can even do Latin and ancient Greek, should you wish. So that's the communication side of things. Another important thing about humans is that they think. Hopefully we agree on that. In which case, well, what do they think? What do they think about? How does their thinking work well when it works well, and how does it go really badly when it goes badly? So we've got disciplines like psychology. How does the mind work? What are the sorts of ways in which we function as psychological creatures, and also how can it all go wrong? Philosophy is a discipline which is about, if you like, the deep thoughts throughout history. What do we believe? Why do we believe what we believe? And so on. What else do we do? As humans, we're social creatures. We live together in groups, and so we have disciplines like politics, sociology, anthropology, and further than that, apart from being sort of social creatures, we also exist through time, and so we have disciplines like history and classical studies. What have we done compared to what we do now, and what might we do in the future? And all of those things, as different as they might be, learning French versus learning philosophy, but what they have in common is about being human, and that's what makes humanities humanities. So why would someone come to Rhodes to study humanities? A, they'd be interested in studying something like that, and they would like to study it in a setting which is more conducive to close engagement, and not only between students and their teachers, but interestingly enough, having smaller classes makes engagement between students and other students better as well. because you're not part of a sea of people, you're part of a group, and you get to know each other, and it improves those relationships as well. One of the things about a BA degree, that's short for Bachelor of Arts degree, which is one of the degrees that we offer, is it's extremely broad in the sense that you really can put together almost whatever studies you want. And they don't even have to all be in the humanities. Interesting. You might think, I want to do a BA because I am very interested in psychology, but I also want to learn about economics. You go, fine, That's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Go for it. You were asking about how a Bachelor of Arts degree tends to be structured. And just to let people know that, when you do come to Rhodes to begin your Bachelor of Arts, you will be given a lot of assistance in how to build your degree. But basically, here's the way it works. By and large, in your first year of study, you'll be asked to choose 4 subject areas. And the idea is, you do them. Which ones are you really enjoying? Which ones not so much? Then the next time you get to choose subjects, you build on the areas that you've enjoyed, and the ones that you haven't enjoyed so much, you move it aside and you pick up something else. And that way, you end up with a degree over the course of 3 or 4 years, in which you'll have at least 2 subjects that you actually know quite a lot about. Because each year you've chosen them, because you've wanted to. And they are also supported by a bouquet of other things. So, for instance, maybe I think, look, my real interests are politics and law, for instance. So obviously in my first year I'll choose politics as one thing, law as another thing. But I also think, I live in the Eastern Cape, I really should learn how to speak Easy Xhosa, Well, you don't have to only live in the Eastern Cape to think that you should speak Easy Xhosa. So I do that as well. And as a 4th one, I try economics, because I think, well, if I'm interested in law and politics, perhaps having a bit of an idea about how the economy works, that would serve me well. And if after my first year I still think I'm right, law and politics is my thing, fine, I will do them at the next level. Also, actually I would do another year of that, fine, I'd do. Economics, it was interesting, but I actually want to do something. I want to do some literature, or I would like to learn some history, because that's another thing that might serve me well as a lawyer politician. Right. For instance, knowing a bit about the history of the country, of the continent, and so on. And then finally, after that second year, if I still think of law and politics is what's for me, then in my 3rd year, that's all I'll do. I'll do law and I'll do politics. And then you think, well, okay, brilliant, there's a degree. And it's been built through your interests, and you focus on the things that are working for you. You don't freak out because something isn't exactly for you. You see it through, of course, but you know that you're not condemned to continue it. You have a choice. So that's an idea of how a degree gets built. And as I said earlier, that one of the things about a BA is that the scope is massive. You can study just about anything. And that's actually something that students will not find at a lot of other universities. For instance, you would have to apply, not to do a Bachelor of Arts, but a Bachelor of Arts Psychology. And if you did that, they will say, all right, you'll do this, this, this and this. Then your second year, you'll do that, that, that and that, and then your 3rd year, you'll do that. Here we say, do a BA. Would you like to try psychology? Fine, climb on board. If you like it, continue it. If you don't, move to something else. So you're not locked in to particular disciplinary areas from the start. Interesting. And as I was saying, you are not even confined to doing humanities subjects. Look, if you're going to do a degree in the humanities faculty, you're going to have to do some humanities subjects, obviously, but we have had people with degrees majoring in music and physics. There you go. You will not find that at any other university in this country. And you sort of think, well, why would you? What a weird, crazy combination music and physics is. Really? What's music? Sound waves. Yeah? Yeah. What's physics? How does the world of nature operate at the smallest level? I mean, these combinations aren't necessarily crazy. They're unusual, but they're not mad.
It makes sense. Yeah.
It can even make sense, and this is the place you can do it. It's also the case that because of the great range of choice, you could be an actor and an accountant if you did a degree in the Humanities faculty. Because we got so much freedom. In the Humanities, there are very few subjects that require any particular background. What we're really after is someone who is smart and can communicate, can do any of these things. We're more interested, are you competent and capable in terms of language? Because whatever you do in the Humanities, you're gonna have. It's a very talky kind of area. I mean, it's as you can imagine. I mean, we're talking about literature, we're talking about language, we're talking about talking, we're talking about media and so on. So, language capacity is much more important to us. But if the creative arts thing is your thing, well, just choose the ones you want to do. If the sort of hardcore abstract thinking is your thing, fine. Do the philosophy, do the political theory and economics, but an exciting and fulfilling experience for people to come here. Where leaders learn. All roads lead to Rhodes.